Well, welcome to the first ever episode of the Comeback Code. I'm Justin Gratzfeld, and I'm going to be talking about motivation and health. On talk, I'm going to bring in a lot of different kind of guests and just try to give people motivation and help them on their general health journey and keep things going strong for them. So that's kind of like what I want to be trying to focus on. I'm going to be bringing in a lot of different health experts and that to work better and learn new tips on health or personal experiences and just have different stories of what people might be going through, like my brain infection that I had in full body paralysis, to like other people that may have went to jail and like what they've learned from there and how they're going to get better. So that's kind of the main focus of the podcast is telling a story about how I came back and how other people have come back and what they've learned from their journey and how they're going to prosper and implement those things and sharing them to you guys that might be struggling in these situations. So, just want to talk. Hey, Borders. Yeah, just want to talk about like my story and everything that is going on and what I went through. So, kind of at an early age, my parents had me at like 20 years old, and we lived in this little red house that my great grandpa built. And I slept in the closet, and my brother slept in the front room. And it was about like 700, 600 square feet, and we didn't have running water. We just had an outhouse outside, and say if you want to get shower, we either go to a family's place or we'd walk to the lake and go shower there, and kind of just really started to appreciate life then and like enjoy being outside, which I find that a lot of people just have gotten away from. But as I was going through, my dad got me into wakeboarding at like 3 years old. I started competing, and it was an amazing experience. I was going all over the world, doing all these things, and that was my whole focus. But unfortunately, I just kept getting concussion after concussion and another one. And I've had like 23 recorded concussions that I know about. And it did quite a damage to my brain. And I ended up getting permanent headaches and pretty much a bunch of side effects. And even though the journey was amazing, it was really hard to get past not going into becoming a professional athlete when I had to quit pursuing my dream. And it was real tough to overcome because I felt like I lost my objective in life and what I wanted to do. And like my passion was gone, and I had permanent headaches, and I was in constant pain. I was getting 3-4 nosebleeds every single day, and I was kind of feeling lost. I felt suicidal. I thought about it, and I really came to the conclusion that I needed to try to impact other people's lives because I'm constantly going to be in pain, so I want to help others get out of their struggles and help them because the headaches never go away. So at 16 years old, I made the decision that I got to put others in front of me because I'm not going to be feeling good. But I kept with the wakeboard, and I kept going, and I kept pushing, but the concussions just kept happening, and the head pain just got worse and worse. So I ended up going to took kinesiology, massage therapy, and ended up going to firefighting, and did that for 3 years, which was amazing, helping people. And I felt like I really found a passion for helping people again and like impacting lives, which was just phenomenal. But all of a sudden, my head pain just started getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, what's going on? So I took a leave of absence. I was getting angry. I was seeing like all these symptoms of people that have had massive head injuries, and I was getting quite worried. Like at one point, I was so mad I punched a hole in the wall just because of the anger issues and trying to deal with the pain. And so I took a leave of absence, and within a little bit of, anyways, I was still playing basketball twice a week. I was running 5K, and I almost fell off a ladder the one day. I just kept getting lightheaded and like felt like I was losing the sensation in my hands and everything. So I woke up the one morning and I had full body paralysis, and I didn't know what was going on. I was panicking. all these things. I thought I was having a stroke because it started at the left arm and it worked its whole way down. And next thing you know, my whole body becomes numb. I can't talk to call for help. My wife's in the tub for like an hour and a half, and I can't call for help, and I think I'm dying. So we get called to the ambulance, and they brought me into the hospital, and they can't find out what's wrong with me. So I eventually went to a neurologist, and they sent me to they said they can't really do anything because it's a newer form of like a brain infection. So I ended up going to a neuroscientist where I actually he helped me so much, and like the amount of things that he had to do to and the variants of symptoms. He was like, I'd fix this part of the brain, this would go wrong. He'd fix this part. It was like kind of fun, a jigsaw puzzle. I never knew what symptom I might have after. And when he did a little test on my brain, he said I had 12 of the 13 things that were going wrong in my that can go wrong in the brain were going wrong. So here was a lot of things to fix, and actually helped me substantially with my headaches. And he got me walking again and able to where I could actually do like short bursts. And pretty much what it was my body had went from the fight or flight mechanism to the freeze, and it was freezing my nervous system, so I couldn't use it. It was turning off the pain. It was pretty much just shutting down my body and preparing for death, which is just a crazy thing to think of. But the thing was, the doctors weren't helping. I was paying like thousands of dollars to go and actually work with this neuroscientist and try to get my ass off the couch. And 11 months later of me being able to like get up for 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, my wife have to help me to the washroom, and then 3 hours of paralysis. And anytime I got up or did too much, I get 3 hours of paralysis or more. And it was just crazy. Should have brought some water down to hydrate here. And it was just crazy to see. But eventually we ended up having to sell our house because Haley was taking care of me, and we had a daughter and everything. So we took a little bit of a loss on the house. We sold it for $269 when we bought it for $307. So a little bit of a hit for us. But then my journey kind of really took off because I found out that what was giving me the brain infection was actually the mold in our house. There was micro mold that was actually eating my brain, and what it was doing was just turning off all this. My body couldn't function properly because the blood-brain barrier was compromised from the head injuries. So once I actually sold the house, I walked my first block with a walker on April 26th. It'll be 2 years on the 26th. And then we lived in an RV for 7 or 8 months while I was rehabbing, and it was definitely tough on my wife. And thank you to her for helping me out and supporting the family through all that. But pretty much I would go and I'd work out. And my workouts was, hey, I'm just going to try to walk a block, come back 3 hours of paralysis, and then I'd do it twice a day. So 6 hours of paralysis and maybe like 2 blocks I would walk, and then I just slowly got a little farther, a little farther, a little farther. Then I started to add a little bit of weights in, and then by July 16th, I walked my first kilometer without my cane. So, and I was really like looking forward, and like throughout the whole experience, I felt like giving up and that life was going to end. Like I was just a bleak feeling of not knowing what to do. The doctors didn't know what to do, and it was quite horrific on me. But having my daughter, thankfully, gave me something to really try to push forward to break past the barrier and make my like comeback story. So when I was doing that, I was thinking like, what do I want to do? I want to set goals and work for things that are achievable. And like one of my things was I want to try to run a 100-kilometer race, and I haven't got there yet, but I want to do it eventually. But there's all these different things I never accomplished, and I was like, hey, I could have died, and all these things that weren't really interesting, they're not that fun to do, but I was like, man, I wish I could have ran a marathon. I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done this. And so it gave me a purpose once I actually got off my bed and was able to pursue this. So I was really struck, like, I'm going to do these things before I die. And I still thought I was going to die because I was having heart problems. All these things weren't working properly. I'm getting paralysis every single day while I'm training. And I'm just listening to motivational stuff. I bought David Goggins' book and started reading how motivation. So I'm like, well, I can't be no little bitch, so can't listen to my bitch voice. I'm just gonna go out and do it. I'm like, you're fucking laying on your bed for days at a time and couldn't do anything. So you can suck it up. If you can run, you can keep going. Doesn't matter the pain. So I just really locked into that mentality and really try to pick on goals. And I'm like, I'm gonna run like David Goggins. So every single day, I just got a little bit. I started off just walking, right, and by September, I finally ran 5 kilometers. It wasn't fast. And I was pumped on my mind. I'm like, I still had the paralysis and I still have the heart issues, but I'm like, I freaking did it. I accomplished that goal. And it was just amazing to have that feeling of like success and not knowing what's going to come in your life. And I feel like a lot of people in these situations in their life don't know where to go, and they're not setting goals, and they're just focusing on the negative. So setting these like important goals for yourself really is going to push you forward into prospering and actually achieving more in your life. So I was like, okay, I ran 5K. You know what? I'm going to start 75 hard. So I went and did 75 hard. And if you guys don't know what 75 hard, it's freaking insane. So no alcohol. You do an outside workout for 45 minutes. You do an inside workout for 45 minutes. You read 10 pages a day and a gallon of water, and no cheat meals or alcohol. I've said the alcohol already, but yeah. So you got to do that for 75 days. No cheating. Follow the diet and go. So I started cracking down this, and I'm like, okay, I'm pushing my body every single time. I'm getting paralysis, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going. Next thing you know, I'm like, well, I want to run a marathon. I've been running. I broke the 15-kilometer mark. I broke the 22. I broke the 32. So 32, I've never ran before. I was like, or the 22. I was like, I just ran 32. I'm like, next week, I'm running a marathon. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to go. I think it was November 18th. I'm like, I'm running a marathon this day, no matter what. Well, I wake up in the morning, and there's a 1.5 foot of snow, fresh snow outside. And it's like minus 13. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, well, can't listen to my bitch voice. So I got to go out there anyway. So strapped on my little water bag, and off I went, run through the snow for 4 hours and 16 minutes. And I finished this marathon. I'm pumped on my mind. Like the whole time, I'm like, don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. Just repeating to myself so I don't fail. And like the pain in my legs and all this, because I didn't really train that well. Like I wasn't walking like some months earlier, so I wasn't like in the best shape, but I just pushed through the pain, and I just felt so great. I'm like, man, you know what? I want to hit 100 kilometers, but I'm not going to do it today, but I'm going to try to hit that 50-kilometer mark. So at kilometer 43, I dropped off my bag with my water. I'm like, okay, I'm just walking on the road to go drop it at my house. I'm literally 200 steps away from my house, and I'm planted on there, and my foot falls through the snow, and I twist my leg, and I don't even know what I hurt. It didn't hurt to touch. It was just a sharp shooting pain in my leg. But I'm like, well, I'm just going to suck it up. Couldn't walk before. Might as well just keep going. So I went from a 20 kilometer pace per kilometer to an 1850 kilometer pace, and I made it to 48.34 kilometers before I had to tap, and it took me like 2 hours to do those, and I felt pretty disappointed that I couldn't manage to, but I was dragging myself across, and it was pretty tough, but I got in there. The thing was, I had accomplished my goal. I've achieved that marathon, something that I never thought I'd be able to do, because I was literally in bed. I thought I was going to die a few weeks, or all the time I felt like I was going to die. And like 6 months ago, I didn't know what day was going to be my last. And to feel like I knocked off something on my bucket list and to accomplish something so amazing, I was like, this is amazing. Like, what can't I achieve? I'm like, no, just because you have a disability or some problems in your life, you can really achieve anything if you put your mind to it. It might be the hardest thing in your life. It might be so painful, but as long as you're pushing through, you really can do it. And I was like, okay, I'm doing 75 hard, and I ran like 300 and like I think it was 382 miles in November in Canada in cold weather. And then December came, I ran 362, I think, miles in December. And one of the days with the wind chill was minus 62. I think it was December 24th. I went out for a run, hooked up. Freaking, I had like an ice cone that came out of my face. I kind of looked like Bane off Batman. And then my eyelashes actually froze shut. Or like they were open, but it was like they froze together. So it looked like I was in a prison, which was absolutely mind-boggling. And I'm like, man, I just did all this shit. Like I'm looking back, I'm like, all the things that I accomplished and how proud. And the thing was, before I got that brain infection, I didn't really like appreciate life. I didn't appreciate walking. I didn't appreciate doing things. I was suicidal from my pain, from the head injuries. And honestly, the brain infection really like changed my life and made me feel like there's a point of living again, and that there's things to do. And even if you have pain, that's nothing. You have all these other things that you're blessed to have, because any day you can get out of bed is a blessed day. And just having the ability to do that is endless, because it's not about having amazing day after day after day after day. It's about being challenged and overcoming those goals. Like, you're going to go and have those bad, but life's all about what I think is trying to overcome the struggle and find the small lights in there that you really can focus on and celebrate and look forward to. Because imagine how boring it would be if your whole entire life you were just there. Nothing really happened. There was no challenges. You never had any success. You don't feel that like amazing feeling of accomplishment. And without those struggles and overcoming them, you're not going to feel worth. So I feel like it was a blessing to have had all that stuff happened, and a blessing to see life again like that. And it was just amazing how it opens your mind from, you can go from suicidal to life is a blessing. And as I was doing this journey, and I'd finished 75 hard, I was pumped, and I kind of screwed up my body. I went a little too hard. I was only eating 1,500 calories a day and running 20 to 30 kilometers in a 45-minute workout. It wasn't healthy. I lost like 80 pounds doing it, but it wasn't healthy for me. And I was kind of lost, because like I played basketball my entire life, wakeboarded, I was super active, and I took kinesiology and a bunch of nutrition courses, but I never knew how to actually like lose weight properly. I thought, oh, just cut your calories down, whatever here, and just do that and you'll lose weight. Well, January strikes, and holy shit, I start gaining weight. I'm like, dude, I'm eating 1,500. I'm like, okay, I'll drop to 1,400 calories a day. And I'm like, I'll run more. I put on more weight. I'm getting fatter. My muscle's going down. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I'm getting injured. All these things are going wrong. I'm like, well, I didn't care. I was just pumped to be able to do. But I was like, something's off. So I found Mind Pump, actually, which is a podcast on fitness and health, and started just binging them hard and learning a bunch of stuff and about like reverse dieting and everything. And then I ended up finding NCI, which is a Nutrition Coaching Institute, and I actually enrolled into them and started to got my certificate and started coaching people, and I got my body back to healthy, because I had all these things to learn, and trying to like go from internet to internet article that tells you, oh, well, you shouldn't drink water, you shouldn't eat vegetables, you shouldn't eat meat, you shouldn't eat milk. Man, you shouldn't do anything if you read the internet. So I was lost. I didn't know what to do, and I feel like a lot of people are like that. And what's going on and stuff. So I really wanted to become a nutrition coach to spread the knowledge that I've gained to help them achieve their goals. Because as someone that was in the athlete industry and like knowing so much about fitness and having no idea how to actually properly and healthily do a diet was scary for me, because if I don't know, how many of you guys don't know, especially if you haven't went to school for nutrition and everything? So I went to there and really been locking in on helping as many clients as I can with like severe health issues and getting losing weight. And I think I'm just about at 140 pounds down for my total clients so far. And I've just been trying to spread the word of health and everything. So that's kind of like my general story and what I went through. And from that January portion when I was just broken and gaining weight and I started the reverse diet, it was kind of crazy. I was 193 pounds, like 15% body fat. And I was like, okay, I'm going to reverse diet. So I reverse diet up to 3,400 calories. Felt fantastic. There was so much energy and everything. And I'm like, I'm just going to hit the gym, reverse diet, I'm going to put on some weight. I'm like, I don't care how much weight I'm going to put on. I'm just going to go. So I went up to 220. So I put on 30 pounds. And I'm like, okay, now that I've reversed diet, I've been doing this for a while. I've gained so much muscle. And I'm feeling like 10 times healthier, like so much energy. All my lifts went like 40 pounds up. And I'm like, okay, now let's do a cut. So I dropped down to 9% body fat at 210 pounds, which I just gained so much more muscle and like just trying to test the body and seeing how it reacts to different things I've been doing lately. So that's kind of my general story. And I have many other different things that's happened in my life and stuff that I've overcome, but I think this is the most important thing to say is about my journey about the brain infection and overcoming that and finding like a new mission in life, a new purpose, and like sharing that and like what I've learned. So yeah, I'm going to be doing this quite often. I'm going to be trying to bring on guest speakers and talk about their life, maybe just joke around, have some story times. And some of the things I want to leave you with is, first off, when you have a goal, break it down. So you want to break down your goal. Set a few of them, nice, achievable, something that you can do. Because when I was like, hey, I just want to get out of bed. So you set that goal. And then you can break it down into little sections that you can really work on. And make it achievable, because when you're feeling like you're winning all the time, eventually your mindset changes because you're constantly getting wins over and over. If you set a goal way up here, like, hey, I'm going to run a marathon like tomorrow, and you fail, no matter what you say to yourself, even if you're 1 kilometer short, it's like, hey, you failed in your brain. You may justify that, oh, I did so good at this, but you failed. So you need to try to set small, achievable goals to build success, because you're going to get 1% better every single day, and by the end of the year you're 365 days better, or percent better. And just doing these small little things are really going to change your life and really going to like revolutionize. There's a lot of other things I can tell about health and nutrition and all this, but the most important I think is just mindset. You getting your goals in line and working small things at a time, not working on too much. Like, one of the most important things for nutrition wise that I found out is you should be working and doing 1 gram of body mass, or sorry, this been a little bit, I'm not used to talking, but for every pound that you weigh is 1 gram of protein you should be eating, maximum up to like, if you're 200 pounds or over, just cap it at 200 for a male. And if you're like over 150 for a female, then you cap it at 150 grams. And doing this really like sets amazing dynamic on your body, because without the protein, you turn off all these hormones in your body, and all these things start going wrong. And once you start to get the actual nutrients, it stops eating your muscle, and the next thing you know, it's building muscle and has the amount of food to replace it. So it's constantly replacing and building versus taking off your body. And it builds the hormones, it lets things go, because think of like weight loss as you owning a house. You got this big mortgage to pay. Let's just say it's $1,500 a month. And guess what? That's your calories that you're eating a day when you're on this crazy diet like I was. And you're just able to pay the mortgage. Your body is just able to run. Next thing you know, hey, you have food to pay for. You have a power bill. You have a water bill. You got utilities. You got taxes. How are you going to pay for that if you don't have the money for it? Well, that's how your body is with food. You need the calories to pay for the hormones. You got to have the calories for the gut health. You got to have the calories for your whole body. And what it does, it's like, hey, I'm just going to turn this off. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn this off. Next thing you know, you're not recovering. You're not getting better. Your gut health goes to shit, and your hormones go. And you're like, what's going on? Like, I'm trying to lose weight, and you're not. And your body, when it's stressed out, it doesn't prioritize building muscle or processing your food. It's kind of like, hey, you are, it pretty much grabs that food that you went and it's like, hey, I'm going to throw that to the side and turn it into fat, and I'm going to deal with that later because I'm way too stressed to deal with this. I'll just store it and go. And well, of course, you're always freaking stressed and nothing changes. So you just keep tossing it over, and you just keep gaining the weight. Like, I had a client that was eating 500 calories a day, 560, and she was gaining weight, which is nuts because it doesn't make any sense at all. And I got her calories up to 1700 calories, and she lost 5 by increasing the amount of food she ate. Does that make sense to you? No, but what it does is it reduces the stress on the body and lets it prioritize actually using the resources in your body. So those are some amazing tips that you can try to take into the hand and really try to focus on. I'm going to try to give more tips, more advice, share stories, bring on speakers. And if you have anyone that you might have in mind that wants to come on the podcast, feel free. I love that shit. So hopefully you can subscribe to my channel and like the video and really help me start my journey of growth and grow with you guys and teach as many people as I can, because I have a mission of trying to help people lose 10,000 pounds and beyond. And that's kind of my go-to mission. So I'll talk to you later, and hopefully you see you soon.